Welcome back. So I just want to talk about this validator now, and first of all I want to give credit to the guy who made it. This is the validator I used right here, and you can go and just get that yourself. He even has, so you can run it from npm directly. I just got an exception with a promise, that's why I'm not using his setup as it is right now. The other thing you can do is if you want to dive into directives right now, you can go and have a look at the Angular advanced setup for attribute directives. They explain a lot here how, for instance, you can make so that when you mouse over something it'll change colors like this, and other cool things that you can use. Also, you should know that things like the ngIf and the ng4 is actually directives as well. If you want to try and read the code for what I actually made in my lessons here, somebody actually added a cool tutorial here for building the entire validation setup inside Scots.io. They've made a tutorial, so go and watch that one if you want to. There's full explanation about how you can actually validate everything inside a login setup and making a custom validator directive. So that was all I wanted to tell you guys. Now, how do we actually do this? So let's go to the actual validator and look how simple it is now. I actually changed a lot. I removed a lot of code. I hope it still runs. It might explode at some point, but I think it still runs. First thing to note is we import some stuff. That makes sense. This is actually the list of all validators available in the Angular form setup right now. So we go and we make a directive, just like you would make a component. This is just a directive now. And you explain to the directive that you have a selector. Again, like we would in a component, we need to know what do we need to write in our different selector tags inside the HTML. So inside the HTML now, I can add this tag now, or this attribute, to my tag input. Okay, so then it references to the password, and the password is actually up here, pointing to the ng model for this input field. So going back to the actual validator, notice these two are actually the validator equal, and it gets an ng model. Now the providers are here. Providers is just a way for us to inject our validator into the already available ng validators. That's what we're doing here. Cool. The last part is actually making the real validator here, the text validator. And it implements validator, that's a minimum requirement. It inputs a validator equal to, and that's what we're kind of sending into the selector, the ng model that I just showed you. And then it gets a validate function with the actual control that we put the validator onto. So that's kind of what we're doing here. So this is actually, the abstract control here is actually in this case the input field that the validator equal to is available. So that means that now we have that input field, and then we can start by getting the value for the input field. Let me just change this into, because right now it's placed, let's just take input value, let's call it that, because these two are actually two different values, the input value and the other value. So let's keep that, then we can use it in other components as well if we want to. So we have an input value, that's actually that value from the tag that I'm on, and then this is the value from the tag that I'm pointing to using the validator equal to. So meaning that that's the password in this case, right? Up here. So okay, that's fine. Now we have some information. Now we can use that information to just check equality. So we're just going to check these two guys if they are combinable. And again, here we have the same naming. Let me just rename this here as well. Just using a good old copy-paste system that I built myself. You can take it if you want to. So here we get the input value and get the other value. So first we just check if the other value is even something. If it's not anything at all, we don't even want to do the test, and we'll just return null, meaning everything is fine. If the input value is actually something and it's not the same as the output value, or the other value, sorry, then we return validator equal true, meaning that there's an error. We are not valid. It's not the same text in both fields. So that's pretty much all we had to do. That's the validator for you. Go and have a look at it. I'll just commit it now. I made some changes now in version compared to version 20, but 21 has the full version. So go and grab it if you want to, and see you next time. Just use my directive, and if you need a text validator, don't make your own one. It's not necessary, and try and find other people's validators or directives if you do not want to build your own from scratch. See you next time. Have fun.